I'm Shavon Doyle-Holton, and I am the lead for Global Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Perigo. We are one of the world's largest manufacturers of self-care products. So if you've ever bought allergy medicine or a toothbrush or cold medicine, it's very possible that you've bought one of the products that we've made. 826 National asked me to make a video for their Write Your Own Way Forward campaign, and I'm excited to share with you my story. I manage all of our collective efforts around promoting diversity, inclusion, and equity throughout the entire company. So we believe that by um, recruiting and keeping a diverse team of people around the globe, by behaving in ways that are inclusive and culturally competent and respectful, and by making sure that everybody is able to succeed, that we are able to fulfill our vision of making lives better. So I am primarily responsible for making sure everyone understands what diversity, equity, inclusion, or DEI for short means, what they can do to support it, and how it might look differently, what they do might look differently depending on the country that they're in or the job that they have. And as you can imagine, it's very complex, but it's also very interesting and fun. I use writing so much in my role. It's interesting because communication is arguably the most important part of my job because we operate in over 30 countries. There's about 25 languages spoken throughout the entire company. There's lots of cultural differences. And so the challenges or the experiences or the sort of topics that are most relevant, depending on the country or the team that you're a part of, it changes. So how do you make sure that globally everyone has a sort of shared understanding of what our goals are or what we're trying to accomplish, but that you're also creating resources or articles or newsletters that keep people informed in ways that are relevant to them. So I'm responsible for a lot of the different strategies and writing products. So say an article or a newsletter that helps keep people informed throughout the entire year. So I'm pretty much writing every single day. So the types of writing I do are really dependent on the certain sort of topics or sometimes we'll call them like days of recognition. So Martin Luther King Jr. Day was something that we really wanted to make sure people were informed about, something that's very relevant here in the US, something that people in Europe or in Asian countries might not be as familiar with. And so my responsibility was to, create an article that both explained who Martin Luther King Jr. was, why there was this day of recognition, why it was significant, but also why this figure in history is relevant to everybody and what we learned from him. So that's an example of the types of articles that we do really to raise awareness and to educate and inform. I also do a lot of collaborative work with different teams around the globe, really to inform their specific education and development. So I might create a presentation and I'm taking content that we've developed and then sort of tailoring it and editing it to that team. So what I share with a team that's based in Ohio is going to look a little different than the team that's based in Dublin, Ireland. So I'm taking a lot of what's already been created and then, revising it so that it's relevant to the audience. The way I approach a writing project, be it an article or could even be a short newsletter, is I always consider the audience, but I think first, what does the audience have in common or what do we share? As part of a company, we are all committed to our vision, we're all committed to our core values, which are respect, integrity, responsibility, and curiosity. So I use that as my starting point because I know no matter what I write, if I can tie it back to those shared values, it's going to resonate with everybody, at least on some level. Then I start to think about the more specific audiences, or if it is for a really specific audience, kind of what do I think I know about the audience? And then I try to be really intentional about what do I not know or what am I unsure about. Having relationships with people is really, really key because there's people that I can go to on different teams or based in a different country and bounce ideas off of them. So when I approach writing an article, for instance, I sort of outline what are the key messages I want to make sure everybody knows and understands, especially if it's more informative. And then I think of what are those ways that I can connect. And sometimes, I might be trying to emphasize, let's be curious, let's demonstrate curiosity towards each other. But I know how people communicate in one country might look a little different than another. So I try to reach out to those individuals and say, hey, what does curiosity look like to you? And just factor that in. So it's definitely a collaborative process, but I do a lot of sort of internal synthesizing in my head. If you are thinking about pursuing work that is in the DEI space or in the community change space, the types of writing skills that I would consider most useful, one, I guess this is a skill, trust your own voice. I think that as we learn what our writing, as we develop our writing skills, as we think about the type of writing that we want to do, regardless of the type of writing that we want to do, we have to trust our own voice. We have to be able to rely and sort of know what are the type of stories I want to tell, what is it that I want people to know. It's a really difficult skill to maintain because we do live in a world where we're just constantly being challenged around who we are or what other people are telling us we should be. So maintaining a sense of confidence in what it is that you want to say, and no matter what it is that you're asked to actually write, that you make sure that you are following projects or pursuing projects that really allow you to trust your voice, show what your voice is. I think the other skill that comes to mind is the art of revising. I do so much revision in my writing. I don't think there's maybe been one paragraph I've written in my entire life that was right off of the first draft. So as at the same time you have to trust your voice, the being able to practice revision, being able to go through and go back and edit and cultivating those skills and knowing that you've planned enough time in your process or in your project to do that revision is absolutely crucial, because there might be things that you just didn't know when you started out that you now want to incorporate, or maybe the goal of the project that you're working on has changed and therefore what you're writing might have to change. So trust your voice and don't short yourself when it comes to revision.